We continue now at the top of Daf Chav Zayin Amud Beis Masechah Sukkah. This is Sukkah Daf 27b. Gemara here is continuing a brayso, Rabbi Eliezer's statement: Ein yotzin misukkah l'sukkah. You're not allowed to go from one sukkah to another sukkah on sukkahs, according to Rabbi Eliezer. Rashi says, Ein yotzin misukkah l'sukkah lechol bazu v'lishan bazu o hayom bazu machar bazu. Let's say you can't eat in this one and sleep in the other one, or be today in one sukkah and be tomorrow in another sukkah. That's a problem, according to Rabbi Eliezer. Ve'ein osin sukkah b'chol shel moed. And you're not allowed to make a sukkah on Chol HaMoed, as Rashi says. Meaning if you didn't sit in the sukkah Yom Tov Rishon, you can't go decide you're going to make the sukkah now on Chol HaMoed. It's too late. The Chachamim say no. Yotzin misukkah l'sukkah. You can go from one sukkah to the other. And you can also make a sukkah on Chol HaMoed. Vishavin, and everybody agrees. If your sukkah falls down, even Rabbi Eliezer agrees you're allowed to rebuild it on Chol HaMoed. And so the Gemara now says, my time with Rabbi Eliezer. What's the reason of Rabbi Eliezer that you can't go from one sukkah to the other, that you can't make a sukkah on Chol HaMoed if you weren't sitting in a sukkah at the beginning of sukkahs? Amar Kra, because the pasuk says, Chag HaSukkos ta'aseh l'cha shivas yomim. It says the holiday of sukkahs is 7 days. So what it means to say is, asay sukkah haru'uya l'shiva. You have to make a sukkah that is fit to be for 7 days. Rashi over here says, asay sukkah l'shem chag shel shivas hayomim. Shamat mina dein osin sukkah b'chol shel moed. So you see, number one, you can't make a sukkah on Chol HaMoed. Dein l'shiva, because that's not made for all 7 days. V'shamina mina, you also see from here, dein yotzin misukkah l'sukkah, because you can't go from one sukkah to the other. Di'imkein lav sukkah l'shivi, because again, if you're going to switch sukkahs in the middle of sukkah, if you're going to switch sukkahs in the middle of sukkahs, you're going to have a problem that it's not a sukkah for 7 days. So that's how Rabbi Eliezer understands the pasuk. For Rabbanan, and what do the Rabbanan respond? Hachi kamer rachmani. Here's what the pasuk means. Asay sukkah b'chag. You have to make a sukkah on sukkahs. And what that means is that even if you did not make a sukkah in the beginning, according to the Rabbanan, on the holiday itself, b'chag, on the holiday of sukkahs itself, you can build a sukkah. Then the Brisa said that everybody agrees, if the sukkah fell down, you can rebuild it on Chol HaMoed. And so the Gemara says, Pshita, isn't that obvious? And so the Gemara says, Ma'u detema, what might you have thought? Hayachrisihi. Maybe when you rebuild a sukkah, that's considered a new sukkah, so you don't have a sukkah for 7 days. Kamash Malan, that's what it's coming to teach us, that really is the same sukkah, as Rashi over here says. Pshita da sukkah shiva, isn't it obvious because it's a 7-day sukkah? So no, ma'odetema ha'achrisi vein l'shiva kamash malan, ho v'yashaba b'yomtiv, v'zu lahashlam hi sukkah shiva, karina bei shetashlim l'rishoni. Since you were sitting in the sukkah at the beginning, it fell down, now you're trying to complete your 7 days, so that's still considered a 7-day sukkah, even according to Rabbi Eliezer. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a brayso, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Eliezer says, Kishem she'ein adam yotzi yedei chavasa b'yom tov harishon shel chag, bilulavo shel chaveru. Just like a person does not fulfill his obligation on the first day of Sukkot if he uses the lulav that belongs to his friend, Dichsivu lekachtem lochem b'yom harishon, prietz hadar kapos tamarim. It says you take for yourself the prietz hadar. You take the arba minim for yourself, and that means mishel lochem. It has to be that it belongs to you. It can't be stolen. It cannot be borrowed. That's what we learn from Lachem. Similarly, a person is not yotzei the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah if he sits in the sukkah of his friend. Again, it says tasa lecha. We learn out misha lecha. You have to be the owner. Again, it cannot be stolen. It cannot be borrowed. And the brayso continues. The Chachamim say, "Afa b'shamru ein adam yotzei yedei chavasa b'yom tov harishon b'lulav shel chaveiro." Even though it's true that a person is not yotzei on the first day of Yom Tov with the lulav of his friend, aval yotzei yedei chovaso b'sukaso shel chaveiro. But by the sukkah, it is different. He is yotzei. He does fulfill his obligation with the sukkah of his friend. Like the pasuk says, "Kol ha'ezrach b'Yisrael yeshu b'sukkos." It says that every citizen of Israel will sit in the sukkah. Melame, this comes to teach us, shekol Yisrael ru'uyim leishev b'sukkah achas, that all of Klal Yisrael is fit to sit in one sukkah, meaning they can share a sukkah. You don't have to own the sukkah. Rashi over here says, "Kol Ezrach Yeshu b'sukkos ksiv tamashma sukkah achas l'chol Yisrael." The implication of the pasuk is you can have one sukkah for all of Klal Yisrael. Sheyashvu b'zeh achar zeh, they can sit in it in theory, one right after the other. V'yefshar she'ei l'kulan delomati shava prut l'chol chad eleh de she'ela. Now it's impossible that they all own the sukkah, because to own it you have to own at least one pruta's value. If all of Klal Yisrael owned one sukkah, certainly nobody would have a pruta. Everybody would have less than a pruta, so it's got to be working through borrowing. So you see from the pasuk that you are in fact allowed to use somebody else's sukkah. And so the Gemara says, "V'Rabbanan and the Rabbanan hay lecha my darshibe." What do they do with the word lecha? Doesn't the word lecha mean that it can't be stolen and can't be borrowed? So the Gemara says, "Mi boy le'limute gezula avol she'ula ksiv kol ezrach." No, they actually say that you're right. Stolen is a problem. That's what Lecha teaches us. But bar is not a problem. That's what we learn from kol ezrach. Rabbi Eliezer, and so the Gemara says, according to Rabbi Eliezer, "Hi kol ezrach my avidle." What does he do with the pasuk of kol ezrach, which implies that everybody in theory can be in one sukkah? So mi boy leger sheniskayer bentayim the katan shenisgadol bentayim. He uses that for a different halacha altogether. Let's say you have somebody who converts in the middle of Sukkot. Let's say you have a minor who becomes an adult in the middle of Sukkot. Rashi over here says, Beintayim b'cholo shel moed, this person becomes Jewish or becomes an adult, an chol moed, v'katan shenaskadol tzamchulo beisaros b'moed. Again, he grows the hairs, the simonim that he's an adult, an chol moed, v'asa haikol l'ribuye she'osa sukkah b'cholo shel moed. And that's what this kol ezrach means. It means that he should make his sukkah even though sukkah's already started, even though it's chol moed. That's in contrast to what Rabbi Eliezer holds in general, that you're not supposed to build a sukkah on Chol HaMoed. It's supposed to be for 7 days. That doesn't apply in a situation where a person just became chayiv in the mitzvah of sukkah during sukkahs. The Rabbanan respond, Kevan she'amru osin sukkah b'chol Shel Moed lo itzarich kron. Now the Rabbanan happen to hold that anybody can build a sukkah in the middle of Chol HaMoed. They disagree with Rabbi Eliezer on that point, and therefore they don't need a pasuk, because you don't need to include someone who becomes chayiv in sukkah on Chol HaMoed. If even someone who's chayiv all along is going to build a sukkah on Chol HaMoed, certainly somebody who became chayiv on Chol HaMoed will do the same. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Ma'isub Rabbi Eloi shehalach lahakbil pnei Rabbi Eliezer Rabbo belud beregel. There was a story with Rabbi Eloi. He went to greet his Rabbi Eliezer in Lud on the holiday. Amar lo, so he said to me, Eloi eincha mishovsei haregel. So he said, Eloi, are you not one of the people who rest on the regel? Shahaya Rabbi Eliezer Omer, because Rabbi Eliezer used to say, Mishabeach anias hatzlonim. He said, I praise those who are lazy, she'ein yotzin mibatein beregel, who don't leave their house on the regel. D'chsiv, like the pasuk says, v'samachta ato veisecha. You're supposed to celebrate Sukkot and be happy with your household. So he said to him, you're not one of those people who, so to speak, lazy in a good way, that you stay with your family on Sukkot. Instead, you came to greet me. As Rashi over here says, Beregel Yom Tov Rishon v'halach etzlo me'erev Yom Tov. On the first day of Yom Tov already, he went to him on Erev Yom Tov in order to greet him. So he said, Eincha mishovsei haregel, ho'av lo amarta beveischa, etzel ishtecha. You're not one of the people who is really celebrating the holiday properly, because you're not in your house by your wife. Mishabeach aniyasu atzlanim. I praise those who are lazy. Even though they're not staying home because of the holiday, they're just lazy. They never leave because they're lazy. He says, nevertheless, I praise them because it's a good thing that you stay home with your family on the holiday of Sukkot. And so the Gemara says, Ini, is this really true? What Rabbi Yitzchak says, how do you know that a person is really obligated to greet his Rebbe on the holiday? It's a good thing that he visits his Rebbe. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Madua toleches say love hayom l'chodesh v'lo Shabbos. Says, why are you going to him today? It's not the new month. It's not Shabbos. Michlal, that pasuk implies the v'chodesh v'Shabbos mechayev inishlach pulei ape rabbe. Sounds like normally on a Rosh Chodesh or on a Shabbos, meaning on a holiday, a person is supposed to greet his Rebbe. So you see, it is something that you're supposed to do. So the Gemara says, Lo kasha, that's not difficult. Hada azal v'asi biyome, hada azal v'lo asi biyome. It depends if you go on that day or if you don't go on that day. And Rashi over here explains, Madua toleches balo shel shunamis. This is the Isha HaShunamis in Sefer Malachim. Amar lo, kesha amar lo elcha varutz ad Isha Elokim v'yashuva. She said, I'm going to go greet the Isha Elokim, the man of God. He said, it's not a Chodesh. It's not Shabbos. Why do you have to greet him? So you see from here, you're supposed to greet your Rebbe on these kind of days. Hada azal v'yasi biyove. The Gemara answers, well, it depends on the circumstance. If the person is going to be able to go back and forth on the same day, and he'll be able to celebrate with his wife, then he should go greet his Rebbe. He could go near, let's say it's a city within the Tchum, or through some kind of an Erev, so then you should go, but if the situation is you're not going to be able to be home, then you should not do so. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabban and the rabbis taught, Ma'aseh Rabbi Eliezer, Shashavas begolil ha'elyon, besukaso shel Yochanan Rabbi Eloi bekisri. There was a story with Rabbi Eliezer that he stayed in the upper Galil, in the sukkah of Yochanan Rabbi Eloi in Caesarea, in Caesarea. V'amri lo beKaisarion. Some people say it was in Caesarion. V'giya chamel sukkah. And then the sun, it started to hit the sukkah, it became hot. Amar lo, so he said to him, Ma'u she'efros oleh asadin. He said, can I spread some sheets in order to prevent the sun from coming in? So Amar lo, so he said to him, Ein loch kol shevet v'shevet mi Yisrael shelo hemid mimenu shofet. He said, there is no shevet from Klal Yisrael where a shofet did not come from. In other words, he didn't really give him an answer. He told him something else. He says every single shevet provided a shofet for Klal Yisrael. Now the sun came halfway through the sukkah, got hotter. Amar Lo, he said to him the same thing. Can I spread some curtains? Amar Lo, he said to him the same type of answer. There's no shevet where you didn't have prophets come from it. Shevet Yehuda ben Yamin hamidu malachim al pian neviim, and Shevet Yehuda and Ben Yamin, they had kings, and those kings were appointed through the neviim. Higia chamal margalosov shel Rabbi Eliezer. Then the sun reached the margalosov, the feet of Rabbi Eliezer. Not al Yochanan sadin ufeiras aleh. So Yochanan finally took the sheets and he spread them. Hivshel Rabbi Eliezer taliso lachorav. So Rabbi Eliezer put his talis on his back. V'yotz, and he left. And now the Gemara explains, Lo mimnei shehifligu b'dvarim. He didn't do this. He didn't give him these kind of nonsense answers just in order to push him off. Rather, elam mimnei shelo amar davar shelo shama mipirabo liolam. Rather, Rabbi Eliezer never wanted to say something which he did not hear directly from his Rebbe. And Rashi over here explains, Lo mimnei shehifligu b'dvarim. It's not that he was trying to evade it. Mashi sila davar acher lo yifligu emenol v'lidchoso. It wasn't that Rabbi Eliezer was trying to have kavanah not to teach Torah to Yochanan Rabbi Eloi. That wasn't the issue. It's just that he didn't want to say something, even if he had a ruling on the issue, he didn't want to say something that he didn't hear directly from his Rebbe. But the Gemara continues, but how did Rabbi Eliezer even do this? How did he go to the sukkah of Yochanan Rabbi Eloi at all? But didn't Rabbi Eliezer say, and yotzin misukkah l'sukkah, you're not allowed to go from one sukkah to the other? As Rashi says, how did he leave his own sukkah in Lud? Like it says, Rabbi Eliezer was from Lud. And how did he go to the sukkah of somebody else? And so the Gemara says, the Gemara says, you're making a mistake. It actually wasn't even sukkahs this holiday. Rashi over here says, it was actually a different holiday. Let's say it was Shavuos, and they just happened to be sitting in the sukkah because it was nice weather. They wanted to be outside. It had nothing to do with the mitzvah of sukkahs. And so the Gemara says, "V'amar Rabbi Eliezer," but didn't Rabbi Eliezer say, "Mishabeach aniyas v'atzlonim shein yotzun mibatein beregel"? Didn't he say that he praises the lazy people who don't leave at all their own houses on the regel? Again, why is he leaving his house on a holiday? And so the Gemara says, okay, Shabbos Havoy, it wasn't even another holiday, it was Shabbos. A person's allowed to leave his house on Shabbos, and therefore he went to this sukkah on Shabbos of Yochanan Rabbi Eloi, and the question was, is it a violation of Shabbos to put up these particular curtains? And so the Gemara says, V'tifshat le'mididei, why doesn't he answer from his own ruling? Rashi says, V'tifshat le'mididei shelo tifros ala sadin, da'asr lahosif alo alarai. We know that Rabbi Eliezer himself says that it's forbidden to add on to a temporary oil on Shabbos. So we should say that's the problem of adding on these curtains in the sukkah. That's not as we learned in the Mishnah. Pekakach alone, if you have the pekakach alone, which refers to a shutter of a window, Rabbi Eliezer says, Bizman shekosher v'toloi. If you have a situation where it's tied and it's hanging, so pokik and bow, then you can use it to close up the window, because it's already considered as it's really attached. You're just closing it off. Vim lav, but if not, ain't poking and bow. Then already it's considered like you're adding on to the closing off of the ohel. It's like you're building an ohel on Shabbos, and that's going to be a problem. The Chacham say either way, you're allowed to use it and use the shutter and put it into the window. As Rashi over here says, Shekosher v'toli sham kol shav, it's tied and it's hanging there always. Pokik and bow, kevin the mesukun v'yomid lakach ein ze lo bone v'lo mosif. Since it's already prepared to go in, that's not considered building or adding on to an ohel. V'yem lav ain't poking bow, but otherwise it's a problem. The mosif while stivas ohel, because now you're adding on and you're closing up the ohel, and we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Chav Ches Amud Aleph.